Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're doing another deep dive today.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, into um, that age-old question,
Hmm.
to commit or not to commit.
Right.
And specifically, we're looking at, should you wait around
Okay.
for somebody to give they can't commit? And
It's a good question. A lot of people, I'm sure, are dealing with this or have dealt with it.
absolutely. And this Reddit thread that you sent me is
Yeah.
like a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's from the Ask Men Advice subreddit,
Okay.
where this woman is asking for advice about this guy she's dating.
Mm-hmm.
He seems great, but he says he can't commit
Mm-hmm.
because of family issues.
Oh.
What I thought was so fascinating was
Mm-hmm.
just the range of reactions and opinions in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Some people were very much like, give him time.
Yeah.
Other people were like, run for the hills.
Right.
Like, don't waste your time.
Exactly. And it's interesting because the original poster never actually defines what commitment means to her.
Right.
You know, it could be anything. It could be exclusivity.
Yeah.
It could be moving in together. It could be marriage. Each of those levels, carries different expectations and challenges.
Absolutely.
And I think that lack of clarity really fuels the debate in the comments.
Certainly, because some people are assuming they're talking about marriage.
Exactly.
And some people are thinking it's just like,
Just dating exclusively.
yeah.
Yeah.
And without really understanding what she wants, it's hard to give advice.
Right. It really highlights how important it is to define your terms
Yeah.
in any relationship. Actually,
Especially.
if you're not on the same page about what commitment means,
Mm-hmm.
you're setting yourself up for misunderstandings and potential heartache down the line.
Okay, so let's get into the dilemma.
Okay.
She mentions that this guy's in his early 30s
Right.
and dealing with some serious family health issues.
Oh, wow.
That's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's totally understandable that commitment might be challenging for him right now.
Mm-hmm.
But is it a valid reason, or is it just an excuse?
Right.
The Reddit community seemed very split.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to acknowledge that serious life challenges can make it feel overwhelming to commit to a relationship.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, genuine love often finds a way.
Mhm.
So it's really all about how he's handling it and how he's communicating with her.
There were some really insightful comments that were saying,
Yeah.
if she really loves him, she should dive in and support him through this difficult time.
Yeah.
And that by showing him that he has a partner by his side,
Right.
it might actually change his perspective on commitment.
That's true.
But then there was the cynical view.
Right.
That can't commit often just means not that into you.
It's a classic.
And there were even some stories of people who said, like, my ex used this excuse.
Oh,
And
really?
then like a year later was married to someone else.
Wow. Yeah.
So it does make you wonder.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point because it really underscores the importance of trusting your gut.
Mhm.
Actions speak louder than words. And if his actions consistently
Yeah.
don't match up with what he's saying, then it might be time to reassess the situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real balancing act, isn't it?
It is.
Trying to be supportive and understanding, but also protect yourself.
Yeah.
And then there's this whole issue of timelines.
Right.
Somebody in the thread had suggested that she set a timeline
Oh,
for commitment.
okay.
Is that reasonable? Or is that just setting yourself up for an ultimatum?
Well, ultimatums rarely lead to healthy outcomes.
Yeah.
But I do think that clarity is crucial.
Yeah.
She needs to be honest with herself about what she's willing to accept
Mm,
and what her timeline looks like, for a committed relationship. And then she needs to be able to communicate that clearly with this guy.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Reading all these comments,
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in what he's doing and his reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But what about her?
Right.
Is she ready for that level of commitment?
Exactly.
What sacrifices is she willing to make?
Commitment is a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's not just about whether he's ready, It's
Right.
about whether they're both on the same page and willing to,
Yeah.
put in the work to build something together.
One of the things that struck me was how many people brought up settling.
Oh, interesting.
Some people were like, don't settle for someone who isn't fully invested.
Right.
But then other people were saying, like, maybe waiting for this guy is settling
Ooh.
for a potentially unfulfilling situation.
That's a really good point.
It's like a double-edged sword of settling.
Yeah, it all goes back to
Yeah.
what do you want in a relationship? Are you settling for crumbs of attention, hoping that things will magically change?
Yeah.
Or are you settling for a comfortable
Right.
but potentially stagnant situation by waiting for this guy
Right.
who may or may not ever be ready,
There was one comment that I thought was really interesting
Yeah.
that basically says she should ask herself,
Okay. Right.
does she truly believe that this guy's invested in a future with her,
Mm-hmm.
even if he can't commit right now?
Right.
And if the answer is no,
Yeah.
then maybe it's time to move on.
I think that's such an important point because, you know,
Yeah.
we can get so caught up in the potential of a relationship,
Yeah.
the what ifs,
Right.
that we ignore these kind of like
The red flags.
nagging doubts and red flags. Yeah. And sometimes like the kind of thing we can do for ourselves is to walk away
Mm.
from something that's no longer serving us.
It's hard, though,
It is hard to let go.
especially when you have feelings for someone.
Absolutely.
There was also this really interesting perspective
Yeah.
that kind of flipped the script.
Okay.
It said maybe he's not asking her to wait at all.
Oh.
Maybe he's actually giving her the space to make a decision,
Interesting.
knowing that he can't give her what she needs
I love that.
right now.
Yeah.
So it's like not really waiting.
Right.
It's choosing.
It's choosing.
So what does all this mean for like our listener
Yeah.
who sent in this thread?
Yeah.
They're probably dealing with these questions too, or at least fascinated by this whole
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah. I think this deep dive has given us a really good overview of like, you know,
Yeah.
the different facets of commitment.
Yeah.
And it's clear that like there's no one size fits all answer.
Right.
Every situation is unique.
Right.
But there are some universal truths that I think we can apply
Okay. I'm all ears.
to any relationship.
What are those?
I think first and foremost, it comes back to like knowing yourself
Yeah.
and what you want.
Mhm.
Like before you can even begin to navigate the whole, you know,
Yeah.
relationship thing, you need to define what commitment means to you.
Right.
What are your non-negotiables?
Yeah.
What are your hopes for the future?
Mhm.
And once you have that clarity, then you can start to assess
Yeah.
whether this other person's vision
Yeah.
aligns with yours.
You can't really expect someone to meet your needs if you don't even know what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hand in hand with that is like open and honest communication.
Right.
Okay, can you have those sometimes difficult conversations with your partner
Mm-hmm.
about your needs and expectations? Are they receptive to listening?
Right.
And if necessary, willing to compromise?
Communication cornerstone of any healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
But sometimes
It's easier said than done.
So much easier said than done.
It is, which is why this third universal truth is so important.
Okay.
Trusting your instincts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe
Yeah.
this person is invested in building a future with you?
Yeah.
Or are you just clinging to hope
Right.
and ignoring those little red flags
Yeah.
that your gut is trying to warn you about? Because
Yeah.
sometimes walking away from something that's no longer serving you
Yeah.
is the hardest thing to do, but it can also be like
Yeah.
the most loving act of self-care.
It's so true. It's so easy to get caught up
Yeah,
in wanting it to work
absolutely.
that you ignore all the things that are telling you maybe it shouldn't.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us, but, you know, remember, you deserve to be with someone who is really committed and enthusiastic
Yeah.
about building a life with you. Don't settle for anything less.
Okay, so to recap, define what commitment means to you.
Yes,
Communicate your needs,
openly and honestly.
hopefully and honestly,
Yeah,
and trust your gut.
you got it.
Okay, good.
Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to wait is a deeply personal one. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
But I think by asking yourself these tough questions and having these honest conversations, both with yourself and with your partner,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to make a choice
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
truly aligns with your values and brings you closer to, you know,
Yeah.
the kind of relationship that you deserve.
Mm-hmm. This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive.
It has.
We started with like one Reddit thread
I know.
about one woman's dilemma,
Right.
and we ended up like exploring
I love it.
such deep truths
Me too.
about commitment and communication and self-awareness.
It's amazing how these seemingly specific situations
Yeah,
can lead to these like universal insights.
it's so true. And it reminds us that we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
We're all navigating the ups and downs of relationships.
Yeah.
And it's comforting to know we're not alone.
Yeah, we all, you know, go through this stuff and we all like, you know, face these challenges. And, you know, remember, if you're ever feeling lost or unsure
Yeah.
in your own relationship journey,
Mm-hmm.
we're here for you.
Oh,
Keep those conversations flowing and those hearts open.
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's deep dive.
Awesome.
We'll be back next time with another fascinating topic.
Sounds good.
Ready to unpack more complexities of life and love?
Can't wait.
Until then, take care.
Bye, everyone.